Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Amanda Lockhart Davis, host of Life Uncensored, navigating adulthood one episode at a time. We've got a great show for you today. You might notice that I'm not wearing my normal apparel for the show. Normally, you see me in my Life Uncensored gear. Today, you see me in my Jax Consulting Services gear. That is because I am a Black woman entrepreneur myself. So, in addition to this podcast, I have a consulting business. Today, our topic is business women doing business things. And we've got an incredible group of ladies who are all around the world, quite literally, and they're doing great things as women entrepreneurs. And I am so excited about this conversation. So, while you're tuned in, make sure you tell your friends, your family, and everybody else to tune in, your fellow entrepreneurs, whoever they are. Let everybody know they need to be tuning in for this great conversation we are about to have. So, as we navigate adulthood one episode at a time, let's see who's riding with us today. First, we have Miss China Morgan, a two-time tech founder, a trailblazer in marketing and music technology. She leads Vidlo, a turnkey solution for launching user-generated video campaigns to help brands capture customer testimonials and content. China is dedicated to sharing innovative ideas on audience engagement and business growth. Let's welcome our girl, China. Hey,
Hello.
China.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I love that smile. Every time I see China, she's got that same beautiful smile. I don't think I've ever seen her frown, and I just love
Aw.
it.
I appreciate it.
Up next, we have Miss Tarina Taylor. Tarina is a small business consultant and credit card processing expert specializing in merchant services. Tarina is dedicated to supporting local businesses and fostering growth within a community. She also advocates for financial education at an early age, believing in the power of knowledge to shape better financial habits for the future. She encourages and supports minority entrepreneurs to take control of their finances and achieve their business goals. Tarina's a woman after my own heart with that one. So let's welcome Tarina. Hey, Tarina. Oh, you're on mute.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Be here. Good to see you.
And lastly, but most certainly not leastly, Miss Shanae Jackson. Shanae is a dynamic entrepreneur transforming business operations and processes for enhanced efficiency and profitability. With a keen eye for improvement and a passion for the future, she optimizes processes to boost morale, peace of mind, and the bottom line. Let's bring on our friend Shanae. Hey, Shanae.
How's it going?
Look at all these beautiful faces. I love it. Black excellence at its best. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. I think this is going to be a very good topic, a hot topic, and one that we need to be discussing more often. As opposed to acting like crabs in a barrel, we should be making sure that we're lifting each other up and pulling each other up, sharing information as we can, and just getting everybody else to that next level the way we want to be, get to that next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to jump right into it. I'll call on you individually, but I want to talk about your story, basically, right? So I'm going to ask you to take 2 minutes out to basically tell your audience what your business is, where you're located, how long you've been in business, who your customers are. Just tell us a little bit about you, okay? So I'll start with you, Shanae.
So thank you. I'm so glad I'm here.
Me too.
And yeah, so I think I'm on my fifth life.
Okay.
I have worked in education and biological research, public health, and the film industry, and based in Atlanta, Georgia. So I've been all over, and now I'm really focusing primarily in operations. That is my passion and love. So I have been in business for 6 years. My first businesses, I didn't start one, I started two and then three very soon after. In the film industry, I was working with a business partner, had a brick and mortar, also a production company, 2 production companies. It was insane while I was also having a full-time corporate job. I transitioned to Atlanta, and now I realize I moved, actually. I live in Tulum, Mexico now. I'm a nomad at heart, didn't know that this is what I was going to be doing, but I really focus on operations. It's a processes, systems. How do we make things work so that you can get further out of your business? So small businesses, medium-sized businesses are my jam.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you for that. I'll go to you, Tarina.
Okay. Again, my name is Tarina Taylor. I'm the founder of the Payments Connoisseur, which is a merchant services consulting firm. We specialize in credit card processing equipment and financial education, as well as merchant account application assistance. And I've been doing this for 3 years. I got into it because my first business, which is a hair salon, me and my mom own. When we came back from Corona, we were start accepting contactless payments because that's where a lot of people wanted to pay. And I got with Square, like most brick and mortar businesses do. And I realized the difference in fees. So if somebody had stored their card in my system, the fees were higher as opposed to if somebody swiped their card. And it just led me down, educational path of why. And once I realized why, and then I realized a lot of the behind the scenes things, I was interested in getting into the business because I know a lot of people don't know about those types of things. When you are an entrepreneur, you just get if you're not, in that particular verse, you just trying to get stuff up to get up and running. So that's not something that you focus your time and attention on. So I thought it was worth focusing my time and attention on this particular thing. And I'm glad I got involved. Oh yeah, and my audience is minority owned businesses and women owned businesses, small to medium sized businesses.
Awesome. Thank you, Tarina.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
China. Oh, you're on mute, China.
There we go. There we go. Hey guys.
Hi.
So my name is China Morgan and I'm the founder of Bitlo. So what we do at Bitlo is we help brands and music artists capture video testimonials, video content that they can use to expand their brand, but also boost their sales. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I love starting businesses. I love seeing it through. I love having the power to really envision something and bring it to life. I would say I've been working on this platform for the last 2 years, but I did have a previous tech company called Jif Out Loud before the pandemic. So the pandemic kind of paused this for a second. In terms of my target audience, it is B2B brands, e-commerce brands, music artists, CPG brands, agencies, anyone that needs video testimonials or content to really leverage that. Video is king right now. So how do we leverage that to either boost your sales and your social media amplification?
Awesome. And where are you located, China?
I'm located in the Bay Area. So I'm in the Bay.
Okay. And what about you, Tarina? I'm not sure if you mentioned it.
No, I didn't. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, you did. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And my business is Jax Consulting Services. We are a business consulting firm where we basically handle the back office functions for small and medium businesses. My drive is really coming from watching my son build his own business. He started his own fashion line in 2021. I'm a mom of three boys. I'm a boy mom. And my middle son, he started his own clothing line in 2021. And I'm the mom that's, I don't care if it's a shoe tying competition, I'm there. I don't get whatever it is, I'm there, right? And so I was visiting his pop-up shops with him, sometimes helping set up things like that. And upon doing that, I was looking around and seeing all these entrepreneurs, young, old, white, black, green, yellow, and two things I noticed. Number one, there was a need for just basic financial literacy. And number two, there was a need for back office support. Some of these people had no idea what 1099s were, for example. So that's one of the services that I provide, processing 1099s, accounts payable, understanding, paying your vendors and how timely payments make a difference for your bottom line, accounts receivable, same thing, so on and so on and so forth. So that was my drive behind it. I'm located in Manassas Park, Virginia, and it's really been one of those things. I went official in August of 2023.
Woo.
So we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary, and I left the corporate world in December of 2023. So I'm really out here stepping out on faith. And every time the corporate world tries to call me back, God's like, no. It's like something else comes up that like blocks it, and something for my business pops off. So I'm just really out here doing the thing as a Black mom, wife, entrepreneur, podcast host, and just I'm enjoying the ride. So that's about Jax. So, ladies, let's like deep dive into this a little bit. I want to know about, and I'm sure our audience would like to know as well, what are some of the things that you've experienced that made you say, I not only want to do this, but I'm going to do it? I mean, because there's obviously all the hurdles, the hiccups, the speed bumps, all the things, right, that we can use as fear to block us from taking that leap into entrepreneurship. What was it for you guys of like, no, I'm doing it? So anybody chime in whenever you're ready.
I can actually start. So I left my position, my last corporate position in 2019. And the thing that pushed me over, because I loved my job. It was my dream job. It was in public health. I never wanted to leave. I had a fiance in Atlanta. I was in Maryland. And I was like, you can move to LA. We'll just be long distance still. Like, I'm here. And then I had been doing so much for the organization. I was representing at the national level for lots of different health issues and health initiatives. And then my boss told me, you don't know how to communicate and you don't have any emotional intelligence. And
Okay.
Yep. And I was like, cool. And I talked to somebody who had been at the organization for several years, like 20 years. And she's like, stay long enough to get your bonus and then you can leave. And that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
And it was relatively easy to walk away. And yes, I have a master's in public health. Like I didn't just like fool around and get here. But I was so glad to walk away from that space. And I knew that it was both my age, my Blackness, and my womanness that prevented me from moving forward.
Wow. And how many of us have a story like that where everybody else is singing your praises, but you got that one boss, which I'll call the ceiling, right? Because we always talk about you hitting your head on the ceiling, right? You got that one boss or that one person at that one job that sees something completely different, and it turns out to be an ulterior motive or an ulterior reason. I think that's something that's so common. And I think that's something that it's bad enough, and maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but I'm going to, because, Life Uncensored. It's bad enough being a woman in the corporate world. There's so much that we have to fight in the corporate world. A man is being assertive, a woman is being aggressive, and then put Black on top of it. Now we're the angry Black woman because we said, no, that doesn't work for me. And these are the reasons why. No, I will not tolerate XYZ. And this is the reason why. Now we're angry Black women. So your story, I'm sure, rings true to a lot of people who are listening and will listen to this podcast, Shanae. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Me personally, I'm actually really short, China. You can come right back on because I'm not going to be long. I've never been in corporate America. I've just heard so many women's stories about corporate America. And I say it's a blessing and a curse for me because I never had to go through that. But then it's some things that you were able to learn and take from those experiences that I didn't get to learn because I've always been an entrepreneur. So my mom had her salon. This is our 35th year. She's owned this business, and I pretty much grew up there. So I've always done hair. I've always been in the salon. I tried to get me a little job one time. I was driving a school bus for 2 years. And after I got through that experience, when I seen the management and how people run businesses, I just knew that that's not for me, and I had to go back out and do my own thing again. And that's pretty much why I'm here.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of you because I kind of have a similar story. So, when I was in college, I did an internship I was majoring in healthcare, and I had this. I was like, let me just see if I like it, and I tried it for a couple of weeks. And I knew the corporate was not for me. I knew I had no passion in it. I was looking at the clock every 5 seconds, wanting to go home. So I always knew I needed to start. I needed to start my own company. So when I graduated college, I was getting my master's in healthcare management. And my idea was I was going to start my own home care agency because all my family, they work in healthcare. So as I was finishing that, that's when I had the idea to start my own tech company. I was 2 classes away and I just kind of went full throttle with it. And I think because I had the support of my family and the confidence of all my life that I knew I could do anything I put my mind to, there wasn't any fallback with starting a company.
Mm.
I knew corporate wasn't for me, so I knew this was my destiny for sure.
So it's like this or nothing. So this.
I love entrepreneurship. I love being able to create companies. So I knew that's where I belonged for sure.
Yeah.
Y'all are so lucky. I mean, I guess I grew up in a space where my grandfather said you need to go get a job where the heaviest thing you need to pick up is a pencil. And so I have that.
Wow.
I have that. My mom used to tell me, go to school, get good grades, and get a good job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That too. And then 6 years in.
You know what? I think it's beautiful because it's never too late. And the people's journeys are so different. You know, you could be
Absolutely.
100 years old and be like, hey, I don't want this. I need to start my own. So I think that's the beauty in your journey and your story. You know?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like you, Shanae, in that, you know, I don't know. I feel like we people in general are taught to go to school, get a job, work until retirement or till you die, and then that's life. That's it. And people who become entrepreneurs are the rebels, right? They're, you know, the creatives, you know, that kind of thing. When I really think, especially again, bringing my son back up, it doesn't have to be that path, right? Are you guys all familiar with the game of life, the board game Life? Okay, on life, when you start, you choose: am I going to college or am I going to just start automatically with a career, right? And if you go to college, the route's a little bit longer, but there's some good perks that come with it. You get paid a little bit more, you know, blah blah blah. If you go to career route, you might happen to fall on a career that pays you more, and you know, you might not. And I think of that in a very real and tangible way, that it doesn't have to be school, work, retire, die. It doesn't have to be that. It's more to life than that. For me, I've been in my field over 25 years, and I've worked with some of the biggest, most well-known companies out there, but I never quite felt like I was at home. Like there are some people, like I work with this one lady, God bless her. She's an older lady. God bless her. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. She literally, out her mouth, I was her supervisor. She literally out her mouth said to me, oh, I'm going to die here. And she meant that literally, like, I'm going to die in this seat. Like, I'm never leaving. I've been here 30 something years. I'm going to die. And she was very happy saying that. Like she was, you know, but you know what? That's for her. That's not for everybody, right? So I just think like what China was saying is that everybody's journey is different. The reasoning behind the journeys are different. How you get on the path to that journey is different. And I think that's what makes this group of women stand out in the conversations. So thank you all for that. Thank you all for sharing that. Now let's like really dig deep and talk about some of the challenges, because I think people, you know, you tell people I'm starting my own business and everybody's like, oh, that's great. Okay, you gonna support me? You gonna, you know, you gonna be there? You gonna watch that podcast? You gonna refer your friends? You gonna come and buy that item, or you know? But they also are having a misconception that, oh, you make your own schedule. You can, I can call you at any time and I can ask you to run errands because you can, you're on your own schedule. You're your own boss. You can do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And they don't realize how much work goes into it. They don't see the dirty side. They see, the LinkedIn posts, the Facebook videos of you. Oh, I just made my first $1,000 or whatever the thing is. And they don't see all the hard work, the worrying, the stress, the agonizing that goes behind that. So I want to talk to you all about that. And I want to hear from you. If you have like one standout story of a challenge that you face as a Black woman entrepreneur and what you did to get through it, and how do you continue to push through when you have challenges come up?
I could start this one. I say when I first started, I didn't know anyone in the industry, right? And when it comes to the marketing industry, tech industry, it's very cliquey, right? So coming in, not knowing,
Wow.
you really don't have the connections you need to really grow or to really like forge partnerships. So I would say that was kind of like my pain point coming in, was that I didn't know what I was doing. Number one, it was me and Google and Yahoo every day, just trying to figure it out. I had no one to really rely on for advice. And then also when I'm trying to work with these brands or with these different companies, it's kind of like there's no way in because you don't have a way in. There's no one kind of vouching for you. And the way I kind of combat that was I just had to be out and network. I really just had to put myself out there, go to different networking events, because people don't really care what you do, but they care about you, right? If they connect with you as a person, then they're more open to, wanting to know more and how they can support you. So that's kind of how I had to get around that pain point as a new Black-owned founder with no connections.
How long did it take you to doing those networking events and whatnot? How long do you feel like it took you to get your first real break in it?
Maybe a couple months, I would say. I think when I first started, you don't know what you're really doing, right? So so I'm like, why aren't they responding to me? What's happening? And then I realized, this is such a close network industry. You really have to know someone. So I think.
So how did you learn that? How did you what was the realization for you that this industry is cliquey? Because I would have never thought that.
Yeah, I think more in the marketing side. I think it's more so you don't hear back from anyone, right? But then as soon as you get a referral, they want to get on a call. So I was like, okay, I need to.
It's who you know.
It's who you know to kind of get through that door. And that's kind of the thing when I talk to new founders. That's why I always try to be a resource, because I know how it is to start and not have that person to kind of like bring me in, And I don't think it should be that way. We should be open to everyone, especially a new upcomer trying to start something,
Right, because back to what I said earlier, instead of being crabs in the barrel, there's space for all of us. There's money to be got for all of us. Yeah,
I agree.
Tarina, were you about to chime in?
Yeah, pretty much same as China, just getting your foot in the door. It's very hard to get your foot in the door, get that first client, get that first. I still don't think I've got my big break yet. I'm still waiting on that moment. But I've been, doing some things, networking, and it's hard to network when you're an introvert because you got to put yourself out there and you got to get out your comfort zone. And since I've been an entrepreneur all my life and I've grew up in a family-owned salon, I've been kind of sheltered. So I really didn't have to step out of, because, like doing hair is a walking advertisement. If somebody sees somebody's hair, they're going to automatically say, hey, this person did my hair, and I'm going to get referrals. But with this business, it's different. It's not the same. So having to go out there and put yourself out there, join networking groups, go to networking events, it's pretty exhausting for me. Like some days, like I just went to a networking event, me and my friend the other day, and it was like a little crab cake tasting, and we were supposed to be, it's a network and crab cake tasting. We tasted them crab cakes, talked about 3 people, and we was out there. But it's just like some days is better than others. So it's just like I go out there, I give out a couple business cards, I talk to a few people, I make connections. LinkedIn is more of a platform for me because it's still, online, and I can still connect with people, but I don't have to actually be face to face. So if I do get to meet the person face to face in person, then I'll get to, keep that connection going, keep that relationship building on LinkedIn, especially if they're on there, because I noticed that a lot of people don't do LinkedIn like to me like they should, because LinkedIn is a great platform to network.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. How about you, Shanae?
So I knew that I was doing something different. When it was the middle of the pandemic, I had ordered, my business partner and I had ordered a bunch of equipment. In 3 months, we had tripled the size of the brick and mortar, both in revenue and in equipment. And I also learned that I was on a very, very swift path to burnout. And it took me over a year and a half to recover. So there was a point in which I was easily working 100 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So being an entrepreneur is not sexy. It's fun, right? It's really, really fun, but it also is really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
My family, again, like my family told me, like, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. That was my job, was to do those 3 things, right? And so for me to, one, be a nomad and I've lived in 6 states, now 3 countries. It doesn't feel like it's going to stop anytime soon. So to have moved around that much, done a lot, and then all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm going to work in the film industry. Yay. And then and then move to Mexico. I just got here on the 1st. So then move to Mexico and decide, like, no, I'm going to really focus on my consulting and really like deep dive into that, because that's my actual passion. Narrowing down, I think, on a side note, narrowing down, like, I think what I got stuck on was I'm good at a lot of things. I might even be great at a lot of things, but like, what am I actually like super stoked to wake up in the morning? Like when I'm brushing my teeth, what am I thinking about? When I'm washing my face, what am I thinking about? Right. Like that ended up being the thing. And so when I transitioned out and finally transitioned out of the company, and I'm not fully out, to be honest, I'm just a little further away. When I transitioned out, I was like, I can't wait to be in Mexico so I can focus and like really reignite the creativity that like drew me to what I do now in the first place.
Wow.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think there were so many gems that you shared just with the entrepreneurship journey in terms of,
Yes.
I think especially in tech, everything looks so glamorous. Like, oh my gosh, I raised $2 million, but you're stressed out half the time. Oh my gosh, but no one really knows what people go through when you're running a small business or a tech company. And I think that once they realize that, they'll realize that not everyone wants to be a founder or CEO. It's not for everyone, you know?
It really isn't.
And the other gem that I love that you mentioned was that just because you didn't have the support of your family, it's kind of like you wanted to do it anyway. Like you stuck to your gut and you're like, I know this is going to be successful. And I think any entrepreneur, they need that type of belief in themselves, or you're just not going to be successful, you know? So thank you.
I agree.
You have to find your community, right? Like my journey, it was finding a community online, right? Like, you know, meeting folks like you online. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's more people like me who have the same sort of background, go to school, get good grades, get a job, like, but they're doing this too. Okay, cool. So you just keep trucking along, I guess.
No, you're absolutely right. I think one of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur, obviously, it's the tangible, the long hours, you laying in the bed and you're thinking of, okay, when I post tomorrow, I think I'll post it, you know, whatever that thing is, right? I think the hardest part of it is keeping that smile on your face, letting the world know that I'm still here. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep trying, even when you feel like, did I make the right choice? Should I be doing this? You know what I mean? That is so big. And again, it's not sexy. It's not. I mean, if you saw what it takes, like, especially starting out and you are everybody and everything in that company. You are the CEO as well as the janitor. You are the marketing exec as well as the finance exec. You're all of that, and your brain is going 10 miles a minute. And we haven't even brought into this concept your personal life. You got kids, you got family, you got husband, you got whatever you got going on. So you have all these things happening at one time, and with a lot of times little support, no support, but you believe in it and you just want to keep pushing. And I think that is major, because that's the accomplishment right there, that you decided to keep pushing anyway. Man, I'm not getting a lot of likes on my posts. Man, I'm not getting a lot of callbacks. Man, I'm not getting a lot of responses to my emails, whatever. But I'm doing it again tomorrow. I'm going to try again tomorrow. You know what I mean? And I think that's the accomplishment in and of itself, which I think can be motivating to hear from somebody who's thinking about coming into this world of entrepreneurship, you know. But yeah, I think that kind of leads into my next question for the group, which is motivation. How do you stay motivated when you have a really rough day, rough week, rough month, when you're just like, I haven't gotten a call back, an email back. I can't think of any new ideas of how to market myself, get myself out there. Like, how do you stay motivated through those times? Like, what are you using? Is it a friend to be like, you better cut that shit out and get up in there and do what you're supposed to do? Or is it yourself? Like, what is your thing? What keeps you motivated?
I think I believe in the vision of my company so much that motivates me. And whether, I think as entrepreneurs, I have my moments where I'm like, I haven't got no responses, but then I click out of it real fast, right? Because I know that like, it's always something else. It's a cycle. It's going to be good and bad. So I think that if you really believe in your vision, then I think it's just an automatic motivation for you to keep on going,
It's definitely like that for me.
I've had to be unafraid of no. Right? Like, my mom used to tell me, what's the worst thing they can tell you? Right? And no is it, right? Like, so one has been developing a thicker skin and doing it afraid, because I'm gonna get a no somewhere, but I'm gonna get some yeses as well, and they're gonna be some big yeses. Big yeses. I also, I think about, I loved my last corporate job, but real talk, like, I love what I do now. So like, sometimes I'm going to pull a 12-hour day, and like, I've been staring at my computer for all that time and forgot to eat and forgot to take out my dog and all of those things. But at the same time, like, I'm jazzed to think about, man, what can I help my client with? What am I working on in my own business? How can I get better? Yeah. So, and then probably the last of it is like, when I'm tired, let me go ahead and relax, like, follow my energy. And so I want to be on the up more than the down, of course. But like, if I can't make it, it's okay. I'll be just fine.
You know what? I think you make a very valid point there. I'm glad you said that, because I don't think enough people realize that it's okay to say, today's my day off. Or as opposed to working till 8 p.m., I'm only going to work till 2. Like, it's okay. And I think that that's a big thing for new entrepreneurs to know and understand, that you can't get the best you if the best you is tired all the time. So I'm glad you said that. Thanks for saying that. China, were you about to say something?
Because I had to learn really early on that, like, I had to have a balance. Because when you're starting something, all your hours, all your emotions poured into it. I'm like, I'm so tired, I can't even work like I'm supposed to. So I had to make sure, like, I went out, I go dancing, I hang out with friends, just so I can create that. And guess what? If I'm tired, maybe I just don't work today. Like, know how to say no to yourself as well. So I love that you pointed that out.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you, ladies. That brings up a good a question to my mind. Do you have specific? I'll just say hours, for lack of better phrasing, right now. Hours that you stick to. Period. So I say that, like, for me, when I left the corporate world, the next day I got up the same time I would have if I was going into that corporate job. I did my same routine that I would do, and I got to work on Jax. And I set my hours, and those are the hours that I work between. Even if I'm like, oh, okay, I finished all the stuff I wanted to do today, I might still stay logged on up through those hours just in case an email comes through. But when that hour hits, everything is done. Whether it's an email or anything, I'll see it tomorrow, just like I would in the corporate world. Like, I wasn't one of those people that had my emails on my phone when I was in the corporate world, or nothing like that. So when I left the job that day, I left the job. I'm very good at flipping the switch. Once I cross the threshold of work, I'm at work, and vice versa. When I'm at home, I'm at home. And even summer, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna create some summer hours. Ooh, I can do that now. I'm gonna have some summer hours, and I created summer hours. I posted them and all of that stuff, and I stuck to those summer hours. So, do any of you have like a structure for yourselves that you set to keep that balance?
I personally, with of course, with my stylist business and being a hairstylist, yes, I do have set hours. I have set days that I go into the salon. Then I have set times that I cut people off. Like if somebody send me an email about hair after 8, I'm not going to answer because I don't want to talk about that after 8 p.m. Like, but with the other business, I don't really have set hours. I work certain days on certain things. But I really didn't set aside a time just to focus on those things because a lot of times, like China and Shanae both said, you just have time. Sometimes you just want to rest. So when you're doing 2 different businesses or 2 different things, sometimes you just need to take a day and you need to lay down, get some rest. And I'm still a wife and a mother, so you got set a time to cook and take care of your family. So to me, setting those hours to me is kind of like is too rigid for me. I gotta be able to flow with my time. So no, that's a no for me.
I would say, I know I talked about balance, but I think my balance probably looks a little different. I don't have set hours at all. But I do have my own balance. For example, on the weekends, I make sure that like I'm pretty much for my friends and family on the weekends. And I do work when I can, but it's not like a focus of mine. But when it comes to set hours, I'm pretty much working when I can or when I want to. I don't really have like a set time off or on.
So I'm probably like you, China. I kind of do what I want. So I wake up by 7 every morning. I have a dog, so she will tell me what she wants. But yeah, my brain turns on in the afternoon when everybody else talks about their afternoon slump. I'm like, yay, it's 2:00. So for me, my goal is to be at least like functional and like ready to talk to people at 10 a.m. And sometimes that goes until 6 or 7 or even 8 o'clock, sure. But then it might also end at 2. And then outside of that, I do a pretty decent shutdown ritual, right? Which is cleaning up my desk, putting away my computer. I have a little stand that lifts it up a little bit, putting that down, turning off lights. So there's some things that I do to like wind up my day. And then working with my clients, I always tell them to choose a day that they are not doing anything of work, where it's something, find a hobby, talk to a friend, go for a walk, don't really care. And so I was doing that same thing when I was living in Atlanta. But recently I had a call with a networking friend and she was like, what are you doing for the weekend? And it was the first time in a long time that I realized I don't need to work 6 or even 7 days a week. I can take the weekends off. I know what that actually means. And granted, yeah, this weekend I slept for all day Saturday, but like that's what I needed apparently.
Nice. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I start to turn into a pumpkin at 3 p.m. So I'm not like you, Shanae. I am an early bird. I worked in construction for many years, but even before then, I was just always an early bird. So when I was working, like in the corporate world, if I can get to work by 6 a.m. at the latest, oh, that was the best. And part of that was, I was in management most of my career. So getting to work at that time when nobody else is at work, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, nobody else is at work. I'm not getting any calls or emails. Nobody's coming up to me. I got more done in those few hours than I did the whole rest of the day when people start coming in at 8, 9 o'clock. So that was like heaven for me. Then at 3 o'clock. So when people would schedule meetings at like 4 o'clock, I'd be like, I know you lying. I know you lying.
I think that's the reason why I liked it, is because everybody's brains were off and mine was on. So I think it's the same thing, different sides of the coin.
So by default, you were superior in those rooms at that time frame.
Oh yeah, I was cranking it out.
She's brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies, I want to keep this conversation going right now. We're going to take a quick commercial break, just about 60 seconds. Okay. And we're going to be back. We're going to continue. This is some great conversation. I want to get into some advice that you guys have, some strategies that you've used. I want to talk about all those things. So we'll be back in just a flash.
Take charge of your financial future with our interactive workbooks, The Basics of Financial Literacy, A Healthy Money Mindset, and The Basics of Financial Literacy, A Healthy Money Mindset for Teens and Young Adults. Now available on Amazon. Dive into practical exercises and start building a solid financial foundation today.
What's up, guys? It's The Misfit, and I'm back now debuting. Hey, what's up, guys? If you're ready to get your backpacks, you can go on the misfitllc.net/shop, or you could DM me. I do DMV deliveries. Drop-offs are always available, so let me know.
And we are back. Business women doing business things, talking about business things. We're going to bring back to the stage our panel of lovely Black women entrepreneurs. Thank you, ladies, for staying with me. I saw you over there grooving. So listen, ladies, we've talked about some of the struggles, some of the challenges. Let's talk about some significant highs that you've had as entrepreneurs. Can you think of, even if it's just one, like one really significant high, like one boost, one thing that just skyrocketed you, whether it was the business or just skyrocketed how you felt about the business? What would that thing be that you would want to talk about and share with the audience?
So I'll go, if you don't mind, China. Yeah. I remember I had a conversation with a networking friend, and I think I knew her for 25 minutes in total. And she goes, cool, I think I have somebody for you. And I was like, sounds good. Her and I met on a Tuesday or something early in the week. And then her friend got on my calendar that same week. We talked on Wednesday, and I didn't have to have a conversation with how I could help her or anything. She's talking to me and she's asking, okay, so can you help me with this and this and this? And I was like, yeah. And there's probably some issues with that too. And she's like, oh, probably. So and she's like, cool. So my biggest issue is payment. And I said, cool. So here's what we can do, right? Like, here's how I can work with that issue. And she was my client. I was sick as a dog actually that day. I'm in bed, like I just took NyQuil, and then I hear ping, and she had just finished signed her contract, made her first payment. And I was like, within 45 minutes of my week, right?
Well, there that is.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. That's a great one.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that, Sinead. I think piggyback off of that, because I think whenever you start a company, you're really trying to solve a problem, and I think when you have successfully solved that problem, that gets you so excited. And it's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I think when I started getting clients that were like, this changed my life, like this is what I needed, I think that was my high, and it's still my high because it's like I'm building something that's really changing the way that you work or your workflow or making your life easier. So I think that's what it's always my highs when I get, reviews that in that way.
Definitely. What about you, Tarina?
I recently, maybe about 2 months ago, I got my MBE certification, national through the NMSEC. And I was really excited about that because that was a lot of paperwork and that was a lot of back and forth.
It is.
And I got my MBE and I'm excited about that. And that was my high.
I love that. For me, it was I'm the type of person, once I decide to do something, I go at it full throttle, like full throttle. And so once I decided to start this business, I got SWAM certified. I got my SAM.gov registration so I can bid on government contracts. I got my business license. I made sure that everything with my state and local, that I had everything I needed there. I made sure that my APM certification was up to date. I went head first, got my website up and got that going. I got my design for my logo and I ordered my business cards. I created my email address, even my business email address. I created my business phone number. I did all these things. And fast forward, I don't know, I'll say about 3 or 4 months, I found out about SCORE. Which is a really good. SCORE is just good. If you guys don't know anything about SCORE, audience, I'm telling you, entrepreneurs, look it up. A lot of good free resources there. SCORE, SCORE. And I scheduled a conversation with a SCORE mentor, and so I'm talking to her. And she's like, okay, well, what have you done so far? And let's talk about what you want to do. And so she's writing notes as I'm talking. And I'm like, yes, I did this and that. And then tomorrow my such and such should be coming and blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay. And she asked me a couple questions. Yes, and I've done this. And we get to the end of this call. This is about an hour call. We get to the end of this call. She goes, okay. Shout out to Ms. Laverne Rayford. We get to the end of this call and she goes, all right, so I think we've answered all my questions. I think I know where we can go from here and how I can help you. But I do have one final question. I go, okay. I'm like, okay, she's about to ask me something profound. I need to make sure I'm prepared. And she goes, what the hell you call me for? What am I supposed to do? You've done everything. She said, you have literally done everything. And I just fell out laughing so hard. And I was like, oh, I just feel like there's more I could be doing. I don't know, maybe on the marketing side. I don't know. And she was like, you do know because you've done it. And for me, that was so gratifying and validating because that meant that I was on the right path and that I was doing what I was called to do. And it meant that I was playing on a team, so to speak, that valued my efforts already. Like before anything even got off the ground, before my first client, before anything even got off the ground, that just validated me so, so much. But I will never forget that conversation because she was just so calm, cool, and collected. And, what the hell you call me for? So that just made me feel like I'm doing the right thing. So I'm not so lost in the sauce about this whole entrepreneurship thing that I don't even know where to get started because I've already done everything. And this is a woman who's been a president at her companies. The SCORE mentors are a lot of times retired professionals who either have their own business or have run businesses or some capacity. So for her to hear that from somebody with such high experience and whatnot was just like everything for me. So that's definitely my high, even above landing my first client. Like that right there was so validating. So yeah, that's my story. So let's talk a little bit about strategies. I want to hear about and I feel like because this is such a great group because you guys are a diverse group, you all do something vastly different from the other. So I think this is really good. I want to talk about strategies and systems that you all use to help your customers. Like when you have a potential client and you get them on the phone and maybe you're having an initial meeting, what strategies are you using to, number one, recognize their need so that you know how you can help them? And then number two, what are you using to basically hook them? They've taken the bait. Now you want to hook them. So what strategies or systems are you guys using to do that?
For me, it's just pretty much social media and a Zoom call. That's pretty much all I really need to, because I let people know what I do, how I can help them do my social media. They might send me a direct message, and I'll let them know how I can help with services we offer, what we have that can help them. Usually get on a Zoom call with maybe a member of my team so we can talk about all their options, their pricing, equipment if they need. And then they fill out the application, and it's pretty much a go from there. It's not really a difficult process. It's pretty simple and easy.
Do you feel like, Tarina, your business, because it's needed widely through other businesses, whether it's small, big, medium, or what have you, do you feel like your business kind of sells itself?
No, actually I don't, because I think I would have
Really?
more. I think I would have more clients if it sold itself. I think a lot of people are used to using the Stripe, PayPal, Square. That's what they're used to. And a lot of
Gotcha.
people are complacent with those things until something happens where they get shut down or they get a hold on their funds, and then they scrambling to look for a better option. And that's pretty much what happened recently with Stripe's terms of service. They changed their terms of service for like content creators and coaches and consultants, that type of thing. So a lot of people did get shut down, or they were scared of getting shut down because of the change in terms of service. So everybody's kind of looking, oh, what can I use? What can I use? And so that's kind of where I shine. But other than that, no, I don't really think it sells itself. Maybe I could be better at marketing. I know I could, but like I said, I'm not in the hustle culture. I'm not out here hustling. I'm really not.
But you are, otherwise people wouldn't have heard of you.
I get them when I get them. And
were you about to say something, China?
That is hilarious. You are hustling in your own way. It's your hustle.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's hustle looks different.
Everyone helps, and I think the competition of everyone trying to hustle the same is what gets us all in a frenzy. So I appreciate your hustle. With Minds, I think it comes to personalization. It's like how can I personalize your experience on onboarding, or whether I'm showing you a demo where you can see your brand on it as soon as I get you on there, right? So I'm asking you questions, hearing your pain points, and then I'm kind of like creating the demo to talk to you directly. And then how I also do that is by like showing them their brand in our platform, giving them a testimonial as I'm talking to their brand. And then that's kind of like the aha moment. It's like, oh, I can get these type of testimony. Oh my God, I need you to create me one. Oh, let's create a campaign. I'll be the first one to do it, right? So it's creating those different moments that kind of grabs them right then and there, where they'll want to start as soon as we get off the call,
So it's like the visual, like seeing something tangible to be able to capture their attention.
Yeah, it's the visual, and it's really listening to their pain points, because you could say something that they might not even heard of. And they're like, oh, that is a pain point. So, I think as entrepreneurs, we're always thinking on our feet anyway, right? So we're like trying to figure out exactly if this can be a customer. And if not, I think it's okay to don't force it. Not everyone is good for your platform, for your business. So it's like the ones that are working hard on those, but if they simply don't want it, just leave them be,
Right, because you also never know which way the wind is going to blow, because just because they weren't a good fit, they may know somebody and say, actually, I had a call with, and so maybe you can reach out or what have you, and that starts a conversation. And
even like 2 years later, I had a client come back 2 years later, oh, now we need the platform. So it's never a no, maybe it's not right now. And if it's a no, that's fine. Like Shanae said, is that I get no's every day. And I'm okay with it. I'm used to no's now. So if you don't want, if this is a no, that's fine, because there's so many yeses and people that actually need and have the problem that I'm solving.
I had an episode back in August. Was it August? What month we in? July. It was back in July with my son and a fellow designer, clothing designer. His name is QC, and he said something so on point in my opinion. He said, "I actually enjoy the no's and sometimes hope for the no's because it teaches me how to get to the yes. Like the no's is where I'm learning. It means that I hadn't done something or I hadn't tried something. So now I need to, rethink. When I get the yeses, it's like, okay, I'm gonna just keep doing, I'm gonna keep using the same formula over and over. But that no makes me think and get more creative. So I like what you guys have said about that as far as the no's piece.
I'm probably really like China. So I have one main core offer. And so goal is I'm meeting with experienced business owners who have a small team of have a team of some sort, and they're ready to grow, scale, pull themselves further out of the business, right? So I'm looking for my ideal prospect. However, there's some times where they're not quite ideal, but we're having a conversation. And because of that, I've created more like subset offers that, hey, man, like, I don't need to talk to you about my offer that's for these experienced business owners that do X, Y, and Z, right? That's not where you're at. But I have an offer for newbies. Like, we can work with for 6 months. We can talk and da 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 da. Or really, you just need some time to pick my brain. So how about you just buy some consulting hours and we can knock this out, and I'll answer whatever questions you have. Right? Like, so I've found just asking as many questions as I can, and then generally I go from there. I have to know what's going on. And my goal really is that everybody, regardless of whether they buy or not, I'll be all right one way or another, right? If they buy or not, the goal is that they walk away from the call feeling like they have at least a little bit of their problem solved, or at least a way to go. Because I'm not in the business of what to do. I'm in the business of how to do it. And so that's why I get paid. You can Google everything that I tell you in a discovery call can be Googled, but I'm just your walking Google. But I can also get you to implement it very, very quickly. So that's where I differentiate myself. And that's a part of my sale, right? Is you can Google all of this. It's all Googleable. Will you, and how quickly will you implement it is the bigger question.
So would you say, Shanae, that part of your service is accountability?
Yes.
Yeah.
Efficiency. Let's get it done. There's no reason to be messing around.
Yeah.
If there's something that you're afraid of, I mean, I'm going through it myself, right? Then what do we need to do to break it down so you can get it done?
Yeah. Right. Let's talk through that. Figure out what the blockages are in your head, because they probably aren't really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that, and I can appreciate that. I think part of the journey for anybody in business, been doing it a long time, just started, or what have you, is getting out of your own head sometimes. Sometimes we just so into our own headspace, and that we're just like, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be just this way. Everything has to. And the bottom line is it's never going to be perfect. Everything's never going to be just this way. And that's okay, because that's part of the journey. That's part of the building of something great, is that sometimes you just like, all right, let's see how this falls, and kind of going from there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back a little bit, because we've touched on this a little bit already throughout our conversation about the marketing piece of it. I'm not like Tarina. I'm not an introvert. I am so the opposite of an introvert. However, I am not a salesman. And I say that a lot. I I do not do well with saying, "Hey, buy my stuff." Like, I am not good with that at all. And the thing is, I've had so many people in my life, professional and personal, tell me that I could literally sell water to a whale. And I don't know how or why. I just be talking. Like, I might be telling you about a movie that I just saw, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this such happened," and blah blah blah. And they're like, "Oh man, I gotta go see that movie." But I can do it for other people. Like, I'll walk away from this call and I'll be like, "Yeah, okay, so let me tell you about what Tarina does." So, and I'll walk away from this call and market y'all like I work for y'all. But I cannot do it for myself because I feel like I'm being that slimy used car salesman that they used to show on 80s commercials. So that's like really hard for me. So I've been jumping out there, doing more networking and stuff like that, because I feel like if I get the practice there where it's supposed to be happening, everybody is there to network and talk about their business, right? If I can get the practice there, then I'll get better at being able to do it in situations where it might not necessarily call for that, but I found an opportunity. Let me sneak it in real quick. Me and my husband were at the Missy Elliott concert last month, and we were waiting around. That's another story I have to tell you about that. We're waiting around to meet Busta Rhymes, and we got to talking to this couple, and in the middle of the conversation, one of them goes, "Yeah, so here's my card. I sell cars at such a Lindsay, such and such and such places, such as," and I'm like, "Oh, we're exchanging cards. We're doing that now. Okay." I could not do that. I'm not that. I couldn't do that. So, for you guys, what is your thing as it pertains to marketing yourself, your business? Like, that's my thing. What's your thing?
I think you are a salesperson I think every founder is. And I think that it only depends on the environments that you're in and if it makes sense. I think it's cringy for us when like we're trying to force it, like Homeboy giving you his card, like we weren't talking about cars. That's like the cringy moment, like no one wants to feel, right? But I feel like when the conversation's flowing and someone's just asking, "What do you do?" And it's just your personality as a founder that is selling what you do, so you have to stop saying that because you are a salesperson.
I mean, I feel like I am for everybody else.
But I think for me, in terms of selling, it's just natural. I don't oversell myself. I don't put myself in situations that does not relate to anything that I'm building or, just trying to sell myself. I think it has to be conversations that make sense. "Oh, I'm looking for a tool for video. Oh, I built this platform. You should try it out. I'll give it to you for free," right? It's just like a seamless way of them knowing you. And like I mentioned before, when people are getting to know you and they like you, they want to know about what you do anyway, right? So it's just kind of like they learn more about what you do, and then they're like, "Hold on, I know someone that needs what you do." Then the referrals start. So I think it's more of like a natural. That's my take on it. That's worked for me because I can't force sales. I can't do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like offering help and volunteering. Because I'll do a volunteer opportunity quickly. Especially if it's a situation where the tickets might be high or something, and I ain't trying to pay that much for the ticket. I just volunteer to be there. You know what I'm saying? I could volunteer, work behind the scenes, see some of the stuff behind the scenes, and to me, it helps me get out my comfort zone again, make me talk to people, and then see some of the behind the scenes operations of what's going on behind the scenes of other people's businesses or events and stuff like that. Because I don't put on big events, so when I get to volunteer for one, I get to see maybe I just did one over the summer, and it wasn't put together like I thought it should be. And I just was like, man, if I was running this, and I'm talking like I was running, but if I was running it wouldn't be like this. It would be more organized. It would be this, it would be that. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying, if I was, I would have did it this way. But it's just good to see that, sometimes when you see things from the outside looking in, you think that they did this and they did that and it was this and it was that, but it wasn't even all that from behind the scenes. You should have seen how much of a mess it was behind the scenes, and we all human and we all putting it together and we all have our imperfections and stuff don't go as smoothly as you think that it's going to go. It all happens to everyone. So once you get to see that, it kind of makes you put your guard down and your confidence up.
I might have to take a page out your book, Tarina, because there was this there's an expo coming up somewhere.
Go volunteer.
And I was like, oh, okay, let me check it out. And they was real slick with it. They put how much it costs to be a vendor at the very, 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 very bottom of a very long-winded explanation, everything. And I was like, I know y'all. Huh.
Right.
I
But
might
they
just
always looking for volunteers to help though.
I might need to take a page out your book.
Take a
See what I'm saying? See these tips and tricks we getting, y'all? Shanae, were you about to chime in?
So yes to everything that y'all have said. So I'll add something extra. So the only way to make a sale is for you to be visible, right? Like people need to see what you look like, see the way you talk. I curse, right? So my ideal client they don't need to curse necessarily, but they need to be able to hear the F word come out my mouth and not cringe, right? So I think a lot about I think about sprints. I'm a DASM, a Discipline Agile Scrum Master. So I think a lot about Agile, which is thinking in sprints, 2-4 weeks, and developing whatever needs to be developed. But the thing that I've been focusing on is short, medium, and long-term visibility. Mm-hmm. So short-term might be going to a networking event. Short-term might be sending an email, doing email marketing. So, and then medium-term might be blogging. It could be doing more emails, right? Like there's lots of ways of doing a summit, doing participating in a bundle, freebies, et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of things. And then longer term could be a blog, a YouTube channel, right? A podcast, right? So my goal is I want a pipeline, right? So somebody is going to be long-term. They might be 2 years, like you said, China, but I also want somebody who's ready in the next week or so, right? So how do I continue to build those pipelines where I am at touching on short, medium, and long-term sprints?
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because running a company, I think we always have to segment our ICP, right? Like smaller brands that they don't have that many decisions to make, so it's easier for them to make a decision on if they can go with you. And then enterprise, which might take 2-3 years. I mean, it's worth it in the end, but just kind of like, where are you at now, and then kind of what are your long goals are.
Absolutely.
I think every entrepreneur should have that plan as they're building their strategy,
Yeah, a sales cycle, like really delving into what your sales cycle is.
Yeah.
Like,
well, understanding it, learning what it is,
knowing what it is.
Like, I mean, for me, a sales cycle for me can be 3 calls, but every once in a while I'll get that 20 minutes, right? But like 3 calls and being ready to implement and how to move that potential client through that pipeline.
Absolutely.
And I also think it's about finding the right customer. Like a lot of times we're just like finding these customers and they really don't have what we need for them to come on board, right? So it's being like super strategic of like who we're reaching out to and if they need it right now. If they don't, then we put them in another segment. That's long term, but let's focus on who can use us in this moment,
Yeah, a nurturing campaign is completely fine, but who can you talk to today?
Listen, we need revenue today.
Right. I'd like to eat dinner today. Right, absolutely. Let me ask you, ladies, because you just sparked another thought. What is your take? And I'm going to make it very plain and simple. What is your take on the word niche?
I appreciate. Oh, did you want to go, Shanae?
No, you got it.
I think it has different meanings, right? And when I say niche in terms of like when I'm talking about like my field, it's like how do we narrow down who we're talking to? Because I think a lot of times when people are creating like marketing strategies, it's too broad, right? And like, yeah, we want everyone, but when you niche down and have that ICP that needs what you have, what kind of their characteristics, the type of technology they use, it's more easier to sell to them than to sell to everyone in the world.
Mhm.
So I appreciate people that niche down and really hone into who they're marketing to.
Okay. What were you going to say, Shanae?
I feel like people go and like double down too hard on the word niche. Like they get, oh, I need to get all the way down to industry and like that they're a mom of 6 people. Like, you know, they have like, bro, like I'm a big, there's somebody that I don't know who, I looked it up, like Harry Truman, I think was the person that started it all, but they say there's a phrase called imperfect action, right? So I feel like there's ICP, my unique selling proposition, like all like there's so many, my niche, right? There's so many things in which you can prevent yourself from moving forward to like getting shit done, right?
Yeah.
Then you will never do it, right?
Mhm.
Like I thought I needed to niche down, and then I was like, no, I have lived 5 lives. So of course I know how to do this shit, that shit, and this shit too. Like, how nichey do I need to get? Like,
Mhm.
I know, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I love that you said that because I think like up and coming people that want to start their own companies is that they get too narrow minded. And I think when you're not in it enough to know how to niche down and what that looks like, it can be
Right.
confusing. The word can be confusing. And I think, like you said, when you niche down so much, you forget on who else can be your perspectives. And you're so focused on that you're missing out on a bag with this whole new market that really needs what you're doing, you know? So I like what you said, and keeping your option open. And I think niche down is more for experienced people that know how to niche down, but still are
Yeah.
tapped into other markets, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. Tarina, did you want to add to that?
Not really. I agree with both the ladies. I think some people narrow it to, they be too focused on one thing, and then look out on the broader spectrum. And then, with them people being too broad, then they not focusing on their ideal client at the same time. So it's like you got to have a balance of both. You got to really know who you want to talk to, but don't forget about people who are potential clients as well.
Right. The reason why I asked you guys that is because I've been hearing that word more than I care to hear it lately. And that's me trying to say it nicely. And I say that because I feel like if you are an entrepreneur who is multifaceted in the things they know, right, are experts on, you are the SME, you're the subject matter expert on multiple things. As long as they are in the same category, I'll use the word category, then I think it's okay to say, I can do this for you, this for you, this for you, and that for you. Because when you're having that conversation with a client who only came to you for thing one, and you say, I can also do blah, 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 and you talk to them a little bit about that, they might not even realize that they needed thing 2 and thing 3, right? Or to you guys' point earlier, maybe in a year from now, 2 years from now, they realize, oh, actually now I've grown a little bit more and I could use 2 and 3 and 4 or whatever the thing is. But I just feel like putting yourself into a corner like that with just, oh, this is the one thing I do. I think that can be problematic for the growth of you as an entrepreneur. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean you have a website where you are a chef and an accountant and a horror mystery movie writer. I'm not saying like so vastly different. I think they should be in the same wheelhouse, but it doesn't have to be narrowed down. Like for me, my business is back office. Back office is a lot of things. It's receivable, it's payable, it's taxes in terms of unclaimed property, 1099 processing, it's strategic planning. There's several things that happen in the back office. So being told, oh, you need to narrow down your niche. So just focus on payables, just focus on 1099 processing. Why? When I can service, I can be a one-stop shop for a business, especially an up and coming business. So That's why I asked that.
Oh, I was just going to say something really quick. I just really think that when you first getting started and you're new, that's a term that these digital marketers use to get you into their product or service, because they tell you,
Woo!
yeah, you need to niche down, you need to do this.
Preach.
You don't need to do all that. They just trying to overload you with a whole bunch of misinformation. To me personally, that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think it depends. Because I think when someone's starting a company, I think in the beginning you need to figure out who your audience is anyway, right?
Absolutely.
So people say start small. It's you seeing whether or not what you're offering is viable, and then as you start to grow, you can bring in more options to kind of like create this experience for your
I can
audience.
see that. Yeah.
But I understand, like, when people say, start small, right? It's because let's figure out if this is even gonna work. And then once it works, then it's like, be the one-stop shop. But let's see whether or not your main offering is something that the audience or your customers need,
I think some of it is also context.
Okay.
And when I say context, I mean, you might come to me today, China, and you explain to me, as the person I've gone to for advice about niching down, in your way, in your context, based on your experience. But then Tarina may come to me tomorrow with her way and her experience, which is completely different. And understanding that the way you niche down works perfectly and is different on purpose because your industry is different from mine. So I think people are overusing the word niche, but not changing it.
The context for
the context. Yes. Part of the context.
Part
of the context. I think that's a big part of it. I know we lost Shanae, but I know she'll be back when she can. I think she was having a little bit of internet troubles. But thank you for that. Yeah, I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit because that's something that comes up a lot. And I thought it was pertinent to this particular conversation as we're talking to up and coming entrepreneurs, people who are thinking about it, the ideas burning in their head, whatnot. And I thought that was a good thing to talk about. So I want you ladies to talk about next here's Shanae coming back. Shanae's back on stage.
Sorry, we talked about it.
Yeah, we did. It's quite all right. The next question I have as we start to wind down on this episode is, what is the future for your individual businesses look like to you? What is the vision that you have? What is the hope that you have for your business? Because as entrepreneurs, we're not only looking at what's happening today and tomorrow, we're looking way ahead into the future. So what is that vision for your businesses individually? Shanae, if you want to start first.
So I've had a few businesses, and I want to continue to love the work that I do. That's what I'm excited about it. I wash my hair thinking about it, right? I go to bed thinking about it. I was falling asleep, like looking at product ideas. For me, I'm trying to get into more digital stuff. So looking at product ideas at midnight, right? Because I love it. But beyond that, I want to take home $1 million. After all expenses, all the stuff goes out, all the cogs, all the stuff, I want to take home $1 million. So what does that look like for me to get that done for myself? And then and looking at that experience, how might I be able to then show my clients how to get that done? And right now, it's by taking a lot of imperfect action. And so I'm excited about it.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's great. How about you, Tarina?
I get the opportunity for the past 2 summers. I've been working with the local program in my city called YouthWorks. So I get to have the youth come in during the summer and work for 5 weeks for me. And the goal for me is to pretty much give back to the community with my business. So I want to be able to become a resource partner for a lot of the startup companies that's helping new companies on board with, resources. So becoming a resource partner for startups, new companies starting, and then getting the youth in with me to help them have a job that they can provide for their families as well.
I love that. That's awesome. And
Right.
China?
And I love this question because it really allows you to take a step back and think, what, we're running every day, just running. Like, why are we doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I would like my platform to be like the main tool that big brands use to capture videos that they need. So like whether that's partnerships, whether that's at games, it's just kind of like we're like that number one tool that they know, they trust, and they go to. So that's kind of what my future looks like.
Your long-term vision.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. For Jax, I would like to, much like Tarina, get into the community more and more with financial literacy. Just realizing that there's such a need for basic financial literacy among our youth and mature adults who are well established in their adulthood lives, right? I really want to get into the community with that, and then I really want to be a partner with these small and medium businesses and be able to say, "Oh, I remember them. They're $1 billion company. I remember when they first started out. They were one of my best clients." I want to be able to say that. I look forward to that. I look forward to being in the background, pushing somebody forward and upward through my business, through my experience, through what I know, through my niche. But really just getting people, because they're not teaching basic financial literacy in schools. They're teaching everything else though, but they're not teaching that. So I'm really, that's what I want to do. That's the future for my business. Being able to say that I helped these businesses that are now household names. I helped them at some point in their journey. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Amen.
Okay, ladies, let's talk about pieces of advice you want to give to the audience, people who are thinking about entrepreneurship, who are already in it, people who know someone who want to be an entrepreneur. What pieces of advice would you give to this audience that you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
I guess I'll start with this one. So I always tell up and coming founders, I give them 3 things. It's number 1, you have to believe in yourself, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, how am I supposed to believe in your vision? Number 2, block out the haters. Because you're a visionary, not everyone's going to see your vision and believe in what you do. But it doesn't even matter. It's as long as you believe in it, you'll be able to see that through. And number 3, I always say embrace the pivots. I've had to pivot so much. And I think a lot of times we get stuck on a company idea and it's we have to make this work. But there's so much beauty in pivots and transitions. You never know where it's going to take you. So that would be my 3 pieces of advice.
I like it.
I would say set boundaries early.
Ooh.
Yes, that's one thing I always say, because you teach people how to treat you as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And if people think that they can call, they call you at 9:00 at night and you pick up the phone, you done just told them that every time they try to call you after business hours that you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to be answering all their questions. Ooh. No, I'm not finna do that. I'm not doing that. Ooh. So just let people know ahead of time, this is what we do and this is what we're not going to do. And then number 2, get some of them free resources. There's a whole lot of free stuff out there, especially for minority and women-owned businesses that you just gotta, Google is your friend. Look it up. Mm-hmm. Look up what you need and see if it's for free, because you don't gotta pay for everything, especially when you're starting up and you got a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. Look for some free stuff. It's a whole bunch of free stuff, a whole bunch of free things out there, a whole bunch of good networking groups, a whole bunch of social entrepreneur labs, little programs you can get into but get grant money. It's so many things that you just have to research and find out what's pertinent to you and get with it.
Mhm. Yes, thank you for saying that. Grants, grants, grants. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it again. Grants. There's a lot out here. Some with very um, easy, simple 2-minute applications. Some that are free. Some that are, if not free, low cost, like $15, $20. Grants, grants. Like, yeah, big time. And like Tarina said, those free resources. I mentioned SCORE earlier. That's a great start, and because you go to SCORE and they can tell you other free resources. So yeah, Janae.
So I've said this a couple of times, imperfect action. You're going to want to look for we all do it. So it doesn't matter what level you're at.
Yes.
You're going to want to know everything before you get things done or get things moving. Nah, go with what you know. And then you'll fix it on the way. Understanding that your business is a working draft. I was an English major in college, so working drafts are edit 1, edit 2, edit 3, and like similar to what China talks about too, like your business will evolve as you get smarter, as you evolve.
Yes.
And so go ahead and get started, because you can fix it. You can pivot, you can change course, you can do all those things. And definitely doubling down on Tarina, boundaries. Please don't take a year and a half to recover from burnout. Don't be me.
Tarina, you have the gems, okay?
The gems.
Well, that's because I've been doing hair for a long time, and people, you know how Black women is about their hair, right?
I want to call you. I need my hair done this morning.
Don't be calling me at 9 o'clock talking about no hair.
Yes, but you're right. Like, people will only do what you let them do, period. In all situations, business and otherwise, period. People will treat you how you teach them to treat you. That's it, full stop. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I think for me, the piece of advice that I wish I had at the very, very beginning is don't beat yourself up when things don't go right, because that's going to happen periodically. Sometimes a lot, sometimes not at all. You're going to have a month where it's going to be like, this was the best month of my entire life. And you're going to have months where you feel like everything went wrong. That's part of the journey. That's part of the business. Don't beat yourself up because, oh, I should have said this on that call. Oh, I forgot to add this in that email. Oh, I should have this. Oh, I should have that. That's okay. Yeah, you probably should have, but that's okay. Like China said, it's an evolution, and it's a constant evolution. And that's how you learn. Those mistakes is how you learn. Now, you make those mistakes over and over and over again. Well, that's a different conversation. That's another panel and a different conversation. Okay. But it's okay to be off, have an off day, like where you're just like, dang, I messed that up. But you need to recognize it. You need to learn what the signs are for yourself. Recognize it, take that step back, take that deep breath, and then get at them again tomorrow. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. That's the piece of advice I wish I had early on.
Can I add just one more piece of advice?
Please.
Get yourself somebody who is smart in finance. It could be an accountant. It can be a bookkeeper. Learn how to put together a budget. Start to understand what accounts payable, accounts receivable, COGS, all that stuff means, because they will save your life. And you can pay somebody to teach you so you understand, but really, really getting as much into the financials as you possibly can you got to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the start.
That's what Jax is here for.
Hello.
That
Plug. Ladies, you have been wonderful. We are getting ready to end out this show. I need you guys to tell the audience how to stay up to date, how to contact you, websites, social handles, if you have any events coming up, if you guys will share any and all of that. China?
So you guys, I would love for you guys to check out my website. It's vidlo.video. I love LinkedIn. I'm on there every day, all the time. So I would love to connect with you all. It's under China Morgan. And then for our Instagram, it's vidlo by GOL.
Vidlo by GOL.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Tarina?
My website is tarinataylor.com. That's where you can find all my services that I provide, which is mainly payment processing, merchant services, but I do have some other smaller offers that I do provide. I'm on Instagram as well, and Facebook.
Awesome. Under Tarina Taylor on both?
Yes.
Shanae?
So I hang it on LinkedIn as well. So CHANAYE Jackson. I think there's two of us. So I hang out there a lot. I'm also on YouTube under Shanae Jackson as well. And my business website is swantowncreative.com.
Awesome. And I am Jax Consulting Services. That's JAX. Jax-consulting.com is my website. I'm on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us there. Jax Consulting Services, not to be mistaken for Jax Consulting, because there's a Jax Consulting out there somewhere. I'm Jax Consulting Services. So look for the Blue Phoenix. The Blue Phoenix. All right, that's me. I do have a couple of events coming up in November. I'm going to be part of an author symposium at the library in Manassas Park, Virginia, November, one of them days. Lord have mercy, my mind just left me. That's old age, y'all. November the 23rd. And then on November the 9th, I will be at Gainesville and Haymarket Library doing a workshop for seniors and their caregivers in terms of budgeting, finances, and basic financial literacy. So you can check all of that out on, again, my website. You'll see upcoming events as well as the social handles. Jax Consulting Services. All right, ladies, one last question for you all. I would like you guys to tell our audience one of two things, either your greatest joy or your favorite quote and why it's your favorite quote. Shanae?
It's probably a little inappropriate for what we've been talking about. But I'd rather remain silent and be thought a fool than open my mouth and remove all doubt. So
Why?
I love it because it's reminding me to listen first, right? Listening can make you look like an idiot. And as also an introvert, Tarina, sometimes I am afraid to say words, but if I listen and then speak, get a lot farther.
I love it. That's awesome. Tarina?
My greatest joy is my two girls. I have a 20-year-old daughter and a soon-to-be 16-year-old daughter, and they are just excellent children. I didn't think that I was going to be this great of a parent, but I did okay. And
yes, girl, big that self up.
My girls, they don't take no for an answer. Always straight A's throughout their whole high school career. Like my daughter, she's about to be able to be a representative for her school for the whole board of education. She got picked for that. So I'm proud. Oh, and Shanae, I want to talk to you because my oldest daughter is in public health. So we need to talk. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. China.
So I would say my greatest joy, probably my family. They're healthy, they're thriving, and just seeing that and us all still being able to be together in this crazy world is a joy that I have for sure.
I love it. You ladies have been absolutely wonderful, and I would love to have you back. I think this is a great topic that is endless, to be honest with you, that we can talk about. And I think our listeners will find great pleasure and some great gems in the things that you have talked about and the advice that you've given today. And I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for doing this. And I'm glad to connect with you all, and I'm glad to connect you all. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Ladies, if you wouldn't mind staying with me just a few more moments while I close out the show, I'd appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, China, Shanae, and Tarina, Black women entrepreneurs doing business things. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to close out this show with a couple of house cleaning items. Number one, our next episode will be October the 2nd. We're going to have George Ackerman on, and he's going to be talking to us about Parkinson's disease awareness. So stay tuned for that. That'll be October the 2nd. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find us Life Uncensored Live. So make sure you're staying tuned. Make sure that you're telling your friends, your family, your neighbors, everybody you know about us. All right. And join our Life Uncensored family. Okay. You can also find us on our website, life-uncensored.com. All right. I normally end the show with one quote of the day, but because of this great topic, I could not decide. I found several quotes that I like, so they're all pretty short quotes. So I'm going to read all of them. There are 4 quotes I'm going to leave you guys with. The first one is from Ursula Burns. She's the former CEO of Xerox. She was the CEO of Xerox from 2009 to 2016. Believe that there are no limitations, no barriers to your success. You will be empowered and you will achieve. The second one is from Melody Hobson. She's the co-CEO of Ariel Investments. The biggest risk of all is not taking one. I like that quote a whole lot. And from a little lady you all may have heard of before, Madam C.J. Walker, America's first female self-made millionaire. I had to make my own living and my own opportunity, but I made it. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. That's a nice piece of advice and a great quote. And then finally, from Bazoma St. John, Global Chief Marketing Officer of Netflix. Don't aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you all stay safe, stay hydrated, and do something kind for someone. You never know. You might change the world by doing so. Until next time, see you guys.